Firstly, here I'd like to say something that this is a myth that you have to study a lot for an examination like CAT. Because what I did was I did not have time, right? So I utilized my weekends. I used to sit for mock test, one mock test every Saturday and Sunday. And what I did was after sitting for the mock test, I didn't really care what my marks were. I knew they were not going to be that great, especially in the beginning. So what I did was I gave my mocks and then I sat and analyzed them properly.
Hello everyone, today we have with us Agnideepta. She has scored 99.17 percentile in CAT 2022. She has pursued her undergraduation in B.Sc Computer Science from Xavier's College, Kolkata, and she has graduated in 2022. Today she is with us to share her CAT preparation journey. She is also going to discuss a little bit about her MBA interview experiences. So, hi Agnideepta, welcome to Cracku interview series and a very big congratulations on scoring such a good percentile in the CAT.
Thank you.
So, firstly, can you walk us through your MBA preparation journey? I mean, when you started the whole CAT preparation journey and how did you go about preparing for CAT?
Okay, so basically, I started preparing in the month of August. It was a pretty late start because actually, after my graduation, though I had decided I wanted to do an MBA, since CAT is a very uncertain thing, I was actually preparing for my master's in NIT Suratkal. So, after I joined NIT Suratkal, I started my CAT preparation. So, that was in August. College was hectic and I usually got times only on my weekends. So what I used to do was I started with mock tests right away. Since I was already like a bit prepared with maths, because I have a background in maths as well. So I started giving mocks from August because already I had a background in mathematics. I was strong. So I started giving mocks. I started with Cracku mocks and I started with the full mocks. I first gave my full mocks and I was getting obviously pretty low marks, around in 50s and 60s. So what I did was I first started to see where I was going wrong, of course, and which section I could improve on and which sections I did not have to pay attention right now. So the section I struggled the most with initially was DILR. I was getting pretty decent marks in BRC and quant, so and DILR I almost couldn't answer any set in the beginning. It was really difficult, but then since Cracku provides video solutions to most of the problems, that helped a lot, and I actually learned a lot of tricks from them. So I ended up actually scoring the highest in the DILR section in my
The actual CAT? Wow, that's amazing. That's
like
wonderful.
99.79 percentile in DILR.
That's a very
That was a
good
huge
percentile.
jump.
Right.
Yeah. But then what I struggled the most with in my final days of preparation was BARC because I was not a reader. I'll
Okay.
be very honest here. I'm not a reader and I struggled with BARC. What I tried to do to overcome that was just read a lot of passages, like whatever I could get on the internet, on from the mock tests,
Right.
and all of that. So that was basically how my preparation went.
Right. So, you said you're pursuing your master's, right? And you took CAT while you were pursuing master's. And it was a pretty hectic schedule. How did you manage time? Like, how many hours were you able to dedicate to your CAT preparation and what exactly was your schedule?
Okay, firstly, here I'd like to say something that
Sure.
this is a myth that you have to study a lot for an examination like CAT. I do
Right.
know a lot of people, like my peers who were preparing for CAT along with me. They used to study like what 12 hours a day or something like that. That is
Okay.
good, that is beneficial, but it's not necessary. Because what I did was I did not have time, right? So
Right.
I utilized my weekends. I used to sit for mock test, one mock test every Saturday and Sunday. And what I did was after sitting for the mock test, I didn't really care what my marks were. I knew they were not going to be that great, especially in the beginning. So what I did was I gave my marks and then I sat and analyzed them properly. I looked at all the questions that went wrong, all the questions that were unattempted. I looked at them, I looked at their solutions, and then I tried to figure out why I couldn't do them. And also, I looked at the ones that I got correct so that I can just, get a
Right.
pattern like what kind of questions I can solve and what kind of questions I can't solve. So, I pretty much dedicated 8 hours
Yeah.
over the whole week.
For mocks and mock analysis, right?
So mocks and more than mocks, the mock analysis are extremely
Right.
important, is what I'd like to say. And I think a lot of people don't do that, and that is where they go wrong. I am speaking from my personal experience as well because in my younger days, when I used to prepare for college entrance examinations, I did the same mistake. I
Okay.
never analyzed my mocks, and then I know now that this is something very important, and this is what a lot of people miss out on. Like they give mocks and they just move on to the next mock without analyzing what went wrong in the first mock. So that is one thing people should focus on. And as a whole, I spend around 6 to 8 hours per week in my preparation.
Okay. 6 to 8 hours for the entire week, per week.
Right. Okay. So you didn't start off with the traditional way, like finishing the syllabus first and then taking mocks. So you directly started off with mocks,
Yes.
and during the analysis, if you felt you were weak in any area, you went back and you went through those chapters, like you revised those
Concepts,
Yes,
or you
I
just
first
followed
went
the
through
mock
the
analysis?
solutions. I first went through
Okay.
the solutions, and then if I thought that if I had to clear a concept, I used to watch videos on concept clearing,
All right.
concept videos, or other. I used to consult my
Right.
class 12 mathematic books or whatever those.
Okay, great. Now, you said you were initially very weak in LRDI and you ended up scoring very good percentile, 99.7 plus percentile. So, what changes did you make to your preparation at the beginning? Like at the beginning, you scored less. So, after that, what changes you made so that you were able to achieve such a high score?
The initial mistake that I was doing in my DILR was like I was trying to solve the questions instead of the set.
Okay.
So since we had a limited amount of time, like 40 minutes per section, I was first of all panicking that this was such a huge set. How am I going to sit and solve this huge set? So instead of that, I was attacking the questions first. And that is how I went wrong in most of the cases because you can't exactly solve the questions without solving the set. You can, maybe one or two questions, but if each set is around 4 to 5 questions, you can't really solve all of them pretty accurately without getting a hold of what the passage is trying to tell you. So, what I did was, I first told myself, okay, let's give 20 minutes and solve the set. Because after solving the set, solving the questions would take hardly 2 or 3 minutes. So, I gave 20 minutes in solving one set and 20 minutes in solving another set, and literally the questions took me just a few seconds to answer. So that is how I
Right.
utilized my 40 minutes, and I also decided that I'm not going to solve more than two sets because that is going to be difficult for me.
Right.
And if I just solve two sets correctly, I'm getting pretty high marks.
Yeah, exactly. If you solve both the sets completely well, you'll get a very good score. Yeah. So now coming to your mock tests and exam strategy. So how many mocks did you take? You started off your preparation with mocks, right? So how many number of mocks, like what were the number of mocks you took, and how did you come up with the final exam strategy?
Well, the number of mock tests, okay, since I started from mid August and I
Right.
gave one mock test every Saturday and Sunday. So if you like calculate till November, end of November, that is the number of total mocks I gave.
Okay.
What I made sure was that I needed to be consistent. I could not miss giving a mock test in any week, no matter what the
Right.
situation is. So that is consistency was very important.
Right, perfect. So, okay, so you took the mock consistently and then you analyze them and you never missed a single mock or a week. That is amazing. And yeah, now coming to the strategy, like what kind of experiments were you doing during the mocks and how did you come up with the final strategy that you actually implemented in the exam?
I used to initially focus on attempting a lot of questions, which was definitely a bad idea.
Okay.
That used to get me a lot of negative marking, especially in the VARC section. So, as I said for DILR, I decided I won't attempt more than two sets, and I will attempt those two sets accurately. So, and apart from that, if I talk about VARC, I used to read three passages and I used to try to do them properly. And that was pretty much my strategy. Like, know what you know, and if you don't know, then don't spend much time on it.
Right.
There won't be any use. You have other sections, other questions. Like, if you are sure that you can clear two sections and maybe clear just the sectional cutoff of one section, you are fine. That is the strategy I took. Because accuracy becomes very important, and like if you attempt
Right.
a lot of
It's
questions
negative
and get
marking as
all of
well.
them wrong, yeah, that makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, perfect. So, how was your D-Day experience? Like, how were you feeling on your exam day? Like, were you nervous or were you confident? And how did you tackle the exam?
I was extremely nervous,
Okay.
and more so because my slot was the first slot, the morning slot,
Right.
and
Okay.
I had to get up at like 6 a.m. and reach the exam center, and I am not a morning person at all. I couldn't sleep a wink the night before.
Okay.
I was completely sleep deprived, and I thought that my brain would shut down in the
Right.
middle of the exam, like really, because I hadn't gotten sleep the previous night. So when I entered the examination hall, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just see what happens. If I can't do it this year, I'll do it next year again, because I kind of have no hope for myself. And then I started off with the VARC section. After ending the VARC section, I knew that I messed it up. I
Okay.
knew it. I thought I did really mess it up, and then when I went to the DILR section, I remember there was the first set which I tried to solve. It had a syntactical error,
Okay.
and at least which I thought was a syntactical error. I can't really remember, but I sat
Right.
with that syntactical or grammatical error in the passage, whatever it was. I sat with it for 10 minutes and I was thinking I'm doing the entire set wrong. I wasted 10 minutes over there, or maybe I could
Right.
have gotten another set. I don't even know. So that was it. I found quant pretty easy, but the first two sections really cracked me up.
You have realized pretty quickly that you stumbled on the wrong set
Right.
and
Yeah, that I
You.
did.
Right.
And
That's
I wasted 10 minutes. That was also
right.
the
That will
section
be
I
legal.
did.
and yeah, and then quant. So, how much did you end up scoring in VRC?
I just got them right. I mean, I initially thought that because of the
Right.
grammatical error, I'm doing everything wrong. But later I realized maybe it wasn't an error and I was just getting things mixed up in my head.
Right. So anyway, we don't know about the accuracy about VRC,
Yeah.
we can't really say. Amazing. So yeah, now let's move on to your experience, the interview preparation experience. So what all calls did you receive, and how did your interviews go, and how did you prepare for each stage of these interviews?
Okay, so I'm saying this in order.
Yeah. Yeah.
I received Rohtak first, and then Lucknow, then Cap Calls,
Right.
MEI, IMT, and IMK,
Okay.
and IMC, and
Great.
IIT Madras, and now I am Indore and FMS in front of me.
Okay, nice. So, how did you prepare for the personal interviews, and how did your interviews go? Like, were there any stress interviews that took you by surprise, the questions asked, and so on?
The questions asked did not really take me by surprise because I was kind of mentally prepared for anything. They can ask
Great.
some, like, tell me about yourself, like a basic question to, like, what is happening in China right now and what is your opinion about it. They can ask me anything, and this happened in Calcutta as well. They
Okay.
started asking me about China and Japan and India, these three countries, a lot. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So why
Now I
those? Yeah, I mean, why those three countries specifically? Like, did you mention anything before that about those countries in your any
I
of those
had
answers?
actually mentioned my interest in Japan first.
Okay,
I mentioned that in every interview because that is like my strength. If you ask me on Japan, I can talk about it.
great.
Then they went from Japan to China, and I don't know much about that. I do the basics, of course, but they started asking me in depth, and I was like,
Uh,
why? Why China?
uh, right.
I basically started preparing from the very basics. Like, the tell me about yourself becomes very important because that's how you drive your interview. So,
Right.
we need to be very thorough with our hobbies, our interests, and we need to go in depth. So I did that. My hobbies are basically music and traveling. So
Okay.
I did a lot of research into that, and then about the countries I have traveled to, about their currencies, all of that. So in terms of music, I did a lot of research on, like, music theory in general, and
Okay.
apart from that, singers, genres of songs, all of that. So that helped me quite a lot. And apart
Right.
from that, I also studied a bit of finance because that is what I want to go into.
Okay.
And that can help you basically show your interest in the MBA program. So definitely know about your specialization, and definitely know about the place you stay in, your
Right.
birthplace. Like, I'm from Kolkata, so you know West Bengal's history, knowing Kolkata's history, places to travel to. I was asked in Lucknow, like, name some places that you can suggest to other people that they can
Right.
visit Kolkata. So that is there. Know your city, know your state, and apart from that, basic economics is important. Like, very basic. What is GDP? What is profit, revenue? All of that. That too, I was asked in Lucknow,
Okay.
and I think it's always better to know about a topic beyond your academics. Like, not necessarily your specialization or any other topic. I'm talking about any random general topic which you can talk about, which might be interesting. Like, for example, apart from computer science, I am interested in psychology very much. So
Okay.
MBI and COE code asked me a lot on that, and my interview kind of went a lot into that, and they were listening to me very patiently. So that
Great.
is one
Yeah.
maybe interesting thing that you can add to yourself. So mainly just these. And
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
geography. Geography about
Right.
your state, about your city, about your country, and basic geography of the world. These things are important.
Correct. All right, wonderful. Now, so finally, what is that advice that you would like to give to the future CAT aspirants, the CAT or MBA aspirants in general?
I would like to say that be consistent. That's what I did, and I've talked about it
Right.
earlier as well. Just be consistent, don't lose motivation. That is cliche, but be
Right.
consistent in what you do. Like, know what you are doing. Don't just do anything and everything. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths. Don't focus on your weaknesses much. Like, bring up your weaknesses up to one point, but then try to focus on your strengths more and strengthen them up.
Right, that's amazing. So thank you so much, Agnideepta. You gave some valuable insights, like you gave some very useful tips on how to prepare for CAT and also how to prepare for the MBA personal interviews. I'm sure it helps a lot of aspirants. And thank you so much. And we really wish that you convert your dream B school and all the very best for your MBA journey.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.